He was known only by a codename: Farewell. A ghost inside the Soviet machine. A man who walked the corridors of power unnoticed, carrying in his briefcase the end of an empire. What he exposed would shake intelligence agencies across Europe, blindside the KGB, humiliate the Kremlin, and ignite a silent technological war that still echoes in classified archives today. It began with a single envelope left on a desk in Paris. A warning disguised as loyalty. A betrayal executed with mathematical precision. And for years, the world believed the operation ended quietly. But the truth, buried under layers of secrecy, reveals something far darker. This is the real story behind the Farewell Dossier. The spy who dismantled the superpower without firing a single shot. And the sabotage operation that followed, creating disasters no one was ever supposed to link back to the West. He was born Vladislav Vetrov, a Soviet engineer recruited early into the KGB's Technical Intelligence Division. On paper, he was a loyal bureaucrat. In reality, he was a man suffocating inside a system that crushed curiosity, initiative, and truth. He carried the bitterness of a professional life stalled, the weight of personal disappointment, and the silent rage of a man watching incompetence rewarded above merit. From the outside, nothing marked him as dangerous. But inside his mind lived a single thought. If he could not change his world from within, he would dismantle it from the shadows. He memorized routines, infiltration points, document locations. He learned how to disappear inside his own workplace. By 1980, he had made his decision. Not to defect. Not to escape. But to expose the Soviet Union's greatest secret weakness. The Cold War was built on stolen technology. Soviet agents had spent decades infiltrating American and European labs, universities, aerospace programs, and defense contractors. Entire missile guidance systems, aircraft designs, encryption tools, all copied, smuggled, or reverse engineered. What the West believed to be innovation, the Soviets quietly recreated behind closed doors. It was one of the largest, longest-running espionage operations in modern history. Vetrov knew the names of every spy, every engineer, every double agent, every courier. He knew which French companies had been infiltrated, which American programs were compromised, which NATO researchers unknowingly passed secrets to Moscow. He had the index of Soviet technological theft, a catalog capable of collapsing one side of the Cold War. And he was ready to hand it to the enemy. France didn't expect the meeting. A man asked to speak with a French intelligence officer in Moscow. He offered documents. No payment. No asylum. No demands. Only information. The French government hesitated. Could this be a trap? A KGB ploy? A disinformation campaign? But when the first envelope arrived in Paris, the doubts vanished. Inside were documents so detailed, so precise, so dangerous, that even NATO had never imagined such a network existed. France codenamed the source Farewell. And the flow of secrets began. Week after week, more documents arrived. Thousands of pages, lists of informants, plans, codes, instructions. The intelligence community silently panicked. No superpower had ever been exposed so completely in a single blow. By early 1981, the Americans obtained access to the documents. What they found shocked even them. More than 450 Soviet agents operating inside Western industry. Blueprints of American jet engines already on Soviet desks. Computer chips copied and repurposed. Hardware stolen, software replicated, patents bypassed. It was not espionage. It was industrial-scale shadow warfare. And the Soviets depended on it. Their entire technological progress relied on theft. If someone severed that network, the Soviet Union would lose decades of development. For the first time, the Cold War seemed reversible. The CIA proposed a radical idea. Instead of simply arresting the spies, they would feed the Soviet Union poison technology. Blueprints with subtle flaws. Software with planted sabotage. Designs engineered to fail. It would be the largest counterintelligence deception in modern history. And it would soon cause one of the most devastating technological accidents the Soviets had ever seen. Over the next months, Western agencies replaced stolen technology with altered versions. Aviation software that crashed under specific conditions. Industrial plans with microscopic design defects. Encryption tools that allowed silent backdoor access. Computer chips that failed unpredictably. At first, Moscow didn't notice. Production issues were blamed on internal mistakes. Engineers faced punishment for errors they never made. But then came the explosion. Deep in Siberia, a massive gas pipeline, one of the Soviet Union's key energy arteries, ran through frozen terrain. The Soviets had stolen software designed to control pressure systems. Unbeknownst to them, the software had been tampered with by Western intelligence. A silent flaw waited dormant. In 1982, it activated. Sensors malfunctioned. Valves misread pressure. Systems overcompensated. For hours, nothing seemed unusual. Then, without warning, the pipeline erupted. A fireball rose over the tundra, large enough to be detected by American satellites. The explosion registered like a nuclear test. A blast so intense it briefly confused early warning systems. Officially, the Soviet Union blamed a technical malfunction. Unofficially, they never discovered the true cause. To this day, the explosion is rarely discussed in Russia, and no one publicly connects it to Operation Farewell. But intelligence officials confirmed the truth quietly. The sabotage worked. But victory came at a price. France, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the operation, made a critical mistake. In 1982, the newly elected French President François Mitterrand informed Moscow that France had uncovered Soviet spies. He did not reveal the source. But the Kremlin learned there was a mole inside their intelligence service. Months later, Farewell was arrested. His fate became one more Cold War secret. Some believe he was executed quietly. Others claim he died in prison after years of interrogation. No trial. No public announcement. Just a man erased from existence by the system he once served. With the Farewell network gone, Soviet technological progress slowed dramatically. Projects stalled. Missiles malfunctioned. Aircraft designs suffered unexplained failures. Computers lagged a decade behind the West. The sabotage crippled the Soviet Union at a turning point in history. Some historians argue it accelerated the fall of the USSR. Others insist it simply exposed weaknesses already there. But one fact remains. A single man, working alone, undermined an entire superpower. The Farewell Dossier is still not fully declassified. Entire sections remain redacted, names blacked out, events altered. Even today, governments avoid discussing it openly. Because it wasn't just espionage. It was the collision of ideology, ego, betrayal, and revenge. A moment where one man's quiet rebellion reshaped the balance of power. Vetrov never lived to see the consequences of his actions. But history remembers him. Not as a traitor, not as a patriot, but as a reminder that the smallest crack inside a system can bring down the whole structure. The Cold War ended, but its shadows never fully disappeared. And somewhere, in a locked archive, the missing pages of the Farewell Dossier still sit, waiting for the world to learn what was too dangerous to reveal.